All right, let's go. Let's talk some Packers now from cheeseheadtv.com, Carry the G Radio, and soon to be proudly rolling out the Carry the G beer in draft and in cans. There's going to be a gathering Friday, November 3rd. Cheesehead TV and Gathering Place for the Carry the G launch event. He is Aaron Nagler. Good morning, Aaron. How are you?
Good morning, Zabe. Good morning, boys. How we doing on this fine Wednesday?
All right, that'll be an exciting event on Friday.
Going to be a good time. Drew and KB will be broadcasting live from 3 to 6 there at Revere's in Delafield, and then Corey Banke and company throwing down from 6 to 8. Plenty of Carry the G beer available. God knows, I think I need one after yesterday.
Yep. Our conversation with Nagler is brought to you by Miller Lite, Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin, There is a Difference, and by Rogers Behavioral Health. Okay. Defend the trade of Rasul Douglas for a third rounder, which was really a flippity flop because we had to send a fifth in addition. Defend it.
They did. I mean, the fifth, look, from a roster construction standpoint, looking at it completely dispassionately, I understand it. And I think it's actually a win for the Packers to get a guy off a practice squad a few years ago and now flip him for what is going to be a third-round pick. When you look at it antiseptically like that, I get it. But, man, I hate it for 2023. I hate it for Matt LaFleur. I hate it because Rasul is one of the lone dudes, kind of a lone wolf almost on this 2023 squad who actually, A, shows up every week, balls out, and then says his mind in the locker room afterwards. Like, that's what you want on your team.
Oh, I'm hurting my hand from hitting the bell so hard.
The kids might say he's a dog. Like, he's one of the few you got.
Right.
And now you've walked him out the door.
Yeah, when I tweeted, no, not Sewell, boo, boo, boo goody. Someone said to me on Twitter, what did you think they're going to the Super Bowl this year? And I'm like, no, he was just one of my favorite players. Am I allowed to be that way?
That's what blows my mind. Like, this is, I think, somewhat how kind of fandom has turned in the internet age. It's like everybody's a GM and everyone's operating like it's their fantasy team, and that's how they judge everything. And it's like, there are other components here. There are human beings involved. And oh, by the way, this whole thing is supposed to be about entertainment. Rasul is entertaining. I like watching him play football. I like watching him play on my favorite team. So yeah, no, I'm not a big fan of this trade.
If you were to phrase it thusly, well, you get rid of a guy you really liked and was very important for us for the future disappointment of the next Jay Sternberger, then you would view the trade a lot more differently, wouldn't you?
Yeah,
yes, don't worry. In the future, you'll be bitterly disappointed by a new Jay Sternberger.
Look, we all know he can utilize that pick as ammunition to move up in another round or move around the draft board as it is in any way, shape, or form. And he has shown, Brian Gutekunst, that he's willing to do that. He moves pretty regularly during the draft. So it's not like they're locked in. They have to make the pick in the third round. However, to your point,
move you a lot of space.
No, of course not. No, naturally. And it does somewhat get you sullen as a Packers fan when you look at the clown car of third round picks under Brian Gutekunst. It does not engender confidence.
No, it's not good. But this is the move that needs to happen. I wish they would have gotten rid of Preston Smith as well. I wish they would have got rid of more guys. You're not here's the reality of this team. You are not in a win now mode. You are not in a make the playoff mode. You're in an evaluation process mode. And that's the reality of where you're at. So suck it up, Buttercup. Realize what this is, Packer fans, and either embrace it or turn off the TV. And realize that, next year you're done. That's the reality of where you're at. So this whole, I'm sad he got traded. This is professional sports. Put your big boy pants on and realize what this is.
Look at Butch. I love it. Come on now. See, that's what I mean when I talk about dispassionate, right? Like, when you're viewing it through that lens, 100% get it. Intellectually, I understand it. Roster construction-wise, I get it. To your point, yeah, no, they are not in win-now mode in any way, shape, or form. I get that. I understand it intellectually. But I am also a human being with emotions, and there's an emotional component to sports.
Not allowed.
I know. I recognize that. So, yeah, while my head is saying, I totally get it, makes sense, my heart is saying, this is Rasul, man. This is Rasul who revitalized the team with that interception in Arizona, who had a bunch of pick sixes, who came onto the scene like a demon and just tore the ball away from people. And by the way, again, was pretty much the only guy on the field every Sunday who, down to down gave you everything on the field in 2023.
Yeah.
Again, I get it.
He
I
broke
just don't
Arizona. He completely broke Arizona.
He destroyed their organization in
Yes,
one
he
play.
did. Sent them careening off into the outer reaches of irrelevance. Ken Ingalls, Packers cap, tweeted on the day before the trade deadline, quote, "There isn't a reasonable world you could present me with trading Rasul Douglas makes sense. The only words I would listen to him would listen to is that he's turning 29 and there's some potential injury risk. But even then, I'm barely listening." Now, Ken is usually pretty sharp and on point, but he was so wrong about this. And then he retweeted that tweet saying, "Stupid, dumb idiot." So kudos to Ken for at least owning up to that. But that gives me more information of that this was rather surprising. So big picture. Have they given up on the season?
They'll tell you no. We're going to hear from Brian Gutekunst at 11:30 your time earlier this morning. But, I mean, don't listen to what I say. Listen to watch what I do kind of thing. That's the world we're living in. And I'm not saying they've given up on the season, but they're certainly looking long term. This is not the action of a general manager who's worried about 2023. This is a general manager who clearly has some kind of assurance from Mark Murphy that, don't worry, your job's not in jeopardy. Keep doing what you're doing. And they are thinking long term. They are looking at a window. As Butch says, they're building for a different future. They are transitioning away from the recent past. And that's what this move is all about.
Negs, one of the questions I have, I brought it up. You're in an evaluation period right now.
Mm-hmm.
Do they have enough around Jordan Love to evaluate Jordan Love?
Only if it starts to play better. I mean, everyone has Corey put this perfectly last week on our Packer Transplant show. It really is a Rorschach test every week almost when you're looking at who is grading what when it comes to Jordan Love's play. Because you can sit there and point at, rightly, some missed throws, misreads, hurries in the pocket, seeing ghosts maybe. But then you can also turn around and look at the exact same tape and go, well, there's a reason he's seeing ghosts. No one can block up front. There are guys, I mean, he had at least 6 drops on Sunday versus the Vikings. So you can say, yes, there are places in his game where he needs to improve. But there are also tons of examples, I mean, almost play-by-play, where you just need guys around him to start playing better to get a real picture of what you have at quarterback. And I know Tom Silverstein had written a column a couple days ago about possibly needing to inject some veteran life on offense just for this very reason, to get a better picture. But obviously that has not happened. They are going to have to get guys playing better and more consistently around Jordan if they want to have any semblance of an idea of what they have there.
Yeah, when I'm looking at all of this, Nags, I was very curious as to seeing the other moves that other teams were making and then comparing it to what the Packers did. Like the Bears and their move, that threw me for a loop, and I was like, okay, well, their record's even a little worse than the Packers, and they're going and they're making this move, they're getting this guy, and then we're sending out, Rasul, and just trying to put this all together, especially since, at least in my lifetime, this is kind of new to see the Packers making these type of moves. And so the whole thing was very interesting. And I don't know. I don't know how to feel about this, especially with someone who only thinks with their heart, not necessarily, as you said, their head. But,
well, it's hard, right? So, I mean, you're still going to tune in on Sundays, right? You're still going to watch the games and hopefully be a little entertained. Maybe they start playing better. But when you compare it to other teams, you got to remember the Packers are very unique. They have been in the modern era. They will continue to be as long as the current regime is in place. They're thinking long term. To Butch's point, it is an evaluation year. They are thinking in terms of a window. They're trying to create another window of contention, right? What you're used to, winning all these games, being in the playoffs, year after year after year. The idea that the Bears operate in a very different manner is not surprising. I would only and look overnight we've got the news that the Raiders have fired their entire front off. I mean, the GM and coach are both out. Davis, exactly. And now this is my point. Green Bay is always going to think long term. They're always going to think in terms of like even 3, 4, 5 year windows, right? Whereas a lot of the rest of the league, probably including Chicago, are thinking, I got to save my job right now. That's what a lot of guys are thinking. It's clear that Gutekunst is not worried about his job with the move he just made. So it's different, and it's weird when you're a Packers fan looking around the NFL and seeing how all these other teams operate, but you just have to have a little bit of patience. And I know that patience will be tested every Sunday with this crew, but the patience will hopefully pay off.
Matt Stafford is not yet ruled out or in for Sunday. He's got a sprained UCL in his thumb, ulnar collateral ligament. Butchie, you're the athlete on the show, yeah?
Yes.
Sprained UCL not ruled out. Otherwise, it could be Brett Rippon at quarterback, but they do roll out Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua, the 2023 hit sensation at wide receiver. And other than the starting two of Jair and Carrington Valentine, you got Corey Ballantyne.
Yes, sir.
And Robert Rochelle
who
as your
just picked
backup
up from
corners.
Carolina. Correct.
Yeah, picked up from Carolina with Kashawn in the slot.
Yep.
Boy, oh boy.
Hey, it's going to be fun times. Hey, don't worry about it. Rippon. He'll look like, Joe Montana back there. Well, I mean, the Packers, they're going to play their cover 2 soft shell, keep everything in front of them, let the team just march right down the field. That's how they operate. We know this.
I think they converted 8 3rd and 8s or longer. Yes, last Sunday the Vikings did 8 of them.
Unbelievable. I mean, and that's the thing. It's the same thing over and over and over again. You can set your watch by it. I don't even get excited about first down stops. Like, oh, look, they're stopping the run. Great. They're giving up third downs almost every time. I can't get excited about it.
Why is the offensive line such a disaster?
Ooh, that's a good question.
It can't just be the loss of Bakhtiari. It can't be. It's one guy, Nags.
No. It's very much a lack of consistency because you do see decent plays. You do see plays where guys are playing at a high level, but then somebody has a absolute short circuit on almost every play. Now, sometimes it affects the play, and sometimes it's away from the ball and it doesn't matter, but it is literally happening nearly every play. And that can speak to the guys just needing to concentrate better, or it can speak to coaching. I mean, I know Mike Wall was on Andy Herman's stream last week, I believe it was, talking about how he's looking at the footwork. He's looking at things where I just don't know what they're coaching these guys as far as the steps they're taking, what they're trying to accomplish, certain combo blocks and things of that nature. So, again, this is what we were talking about with Jordan Love. Like they need to play more consistently. You don't know how you operate. Forget as a quarterback, but as a play caller, how can you call plays when you know there's a 75% chance that someone is going to screw up front? You just don't know where.
Andy had a great tweet with the all 22 of the first 3rd and 1, in which there was four guys doing completely terrible work up front. She just reaches out with his left arm, touches his guy, and lets him walk on past.
Mm-hmm.
You had who was it that fell down like a tripod next to him?
Myers just like literally whiffs on the block. And that's what kills me on that play is that's the 5th play of the game. 5th play of the game.
Right.
Yeah, that's fine.
And as Andy points out, this should be a play that's one of your go-to bread and butters, something you've practiced. Something
it's duo. It's like one of the most bread and butter plays in the NFL. Everyone runs it.
Right. Runyon and Tom both block in the wrong direction, or one of the two guys. I think it was Runyon went the wrong way.
Does, yeah.
So they combo blocked when they shouldn't have been doing that. And then Christian Watson gives the most perfunctory, don't care effort on a blitz pickup.
It's becoming a theme with Christian Watson. Becoming a theme with Watson, man. He needs to bring it. I mean, I'm starting to get real sick. I'm starting to get real sick of this guy who shows up every Sunday and displays less than
He doesn't show up every Sunday. That's the first problem.
That is correct, sir. That is
looking
correct.
a bit Chase Claypoolish lately, a little bit in terms of the effort.
That's not. I don't know if you're expecting me to push back on that, but you ain't wrong.
No. Okay, well, hey, professional tackle football game Sunday at Lambeau Field, the hallowed tundra, which will not be frozen, but it may be frosty just a bit. Friday, join Nags and the guys at Delafield at Well Street Tavern at Revere's for the Carry the G launch event presented by Cheesehead TV and Gathering Place, which is the brewery that has cooked up this delicious concoction.
That is correct, sir. Corey Banky will be there with his receiver gloves in all his glory. Make sure you're there to down a few, carry the G's, and talk some Packers. Going to be a good time.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Nags.
Thanks a lot, gentlemen.
There you go.